Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
John Massey, he's a Rider fan living in Edmonton, says, address the jerks in the stands booing Fajardo. How do we expect him to have any confidence when we're working against him during games? He's talking about booing our own players. Listen, John, it's a Rider thing. I don't understand it. It's quite distasteful, to be honest with you, but it's just what they do. It's just what they boo their own star quarterback. I know, right? So the poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, who should the Riders start at quarterback in Week 12 at BC? Jake Dolegala, Mason Fine, or Cody Fajardo? I voted for Cody Fajardo because he is the highest paid Rough Rider quarterback of all time. Clearly, I'm never turning on. I'm with John. Why are you booing this guy? He's your quarterback. But it's just what Rider people do. Rider fans, we can't go into that. But he's your guy until he's proven not to be your guy. My vote is Cody Fajardo to start. How about you, Moose?
Yeah, mine is too. And I understand the hook is getting shorter. The leash is getting shorter and shorter a little bit when the success isn't there. But they're 5-5. They're a 500 football club. They're right in the mix in the conversation. So, yeah, he continues to start for sure.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
The Calgary Stampeder pulled Bo Levi Saturday in Toronto and came back to 1. So what's the buzz in Cowtown as we open a brand new week with their football team?
I think people read into these things too much. You were a goalie. Goalies get pulled at any point.
When a goalie gets pulled in hockey, the whole team gets a lift. When a quarterback gets pulled in football, the whole team dies.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Welcome inside your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show. It is episode number 826. We got a great show coming up for you today. Radio icon Mike Richards is going to be joining us from Southern Ontario. There's no big topic to get to with Mike Richards. He's just that entertaining. And we always enjoy having Mike Richards on. And for the National Football League fans, of which you'll see very shortly, I'm wearing my Super Bowl Bengals shirt here today as we enter Week 3 of the NFL preseason. Special treat for you, Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert, will be joining us for an extended segment. So you fantasy football players, you diehard NFL fans, be tuned in an hour or two for an extra long session with one Jim Lang. But we welcome to the broadcast one half of the program, President and CEO of the RP Show Corp, Darren Moose Dupont. What do you know today, Moose? Looking good, my friend. How are things?
Hey, feeling good too. Good to be back home and happy to be back on the show. Got a little bit of a sleep this morning, so life is good.
Well, hey, before we go any further, it looks like you were outside in the St. Catharines, Ontario sun quite a bit. Did you get highlights while you were gone, or is that natural sun bleach streaks in your flowing mane there?
Yeah, that's a little sun-kissed, actually. Either that or I'm starting to go gray after almost 3 weeks away. But lots of sun. The weather was gorgeous. It was phenomenal to see the area.
Well, working with us could certainly get your hair gray, I'm for sure. Director Jordan, let's get into it. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, and let's get to business, please, on this Tuesday. Thank you.
How about that?
Hey, a lot of ball for all here. And actually, I got about 8 points, Moose, so stick with me. It's a good thing you're with me for 40 minutes here in hour one because we got a lot to get through. Point 1A. Fourth-string quarterback Chris Streveler, who hadn't thrown a pass in team drills before leading the New York Jets to 2 touchdowns in the Jets preseason opener against Philadelphia last week, was at it again against Atlanta on Monday Night Football. Did you watch it? The former CFL quarterback who's had prior NFL stints with Arizona, Baltimore, and Miami replaced an ineffective Mike White in the third quarter Monday night and engineered touchdown drives in his first 2 series, leading the Gotham Green to a 24-16 win over Atlanta at MetLife Stadium. First came a 34-yard touchdown pass to Lawrence Cager. And then an 8-play drive that was capped by LaMichael Perrine's 7-yard run that gave the Jets a lead 11 seconds into the fourth quarter. Streveler finished 8 of 11 for 119 yards. He also led the Jets with 33 yards rushing on 6 carries. Now, I'm going to stop there and just say, full disclosure, you were flying home from Southern Ontario. You missed all of this, and I'm ashamed to say so did I. I went to bed at halftime with the Falcons up like 16-3. I'm like, this is awful. And they're interviewing Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, Moose, on the sidelines, and I'm like, Laura Rutledge was interviewing him, and I'm like, you are a poor lamb being led to slaughter, coaching the worst team potentially in the NFL. And then Strevy takes over. Who knew he's the next Joe Namath in New York? What do you think about what Strevy's done in New York?
I think that's fantastic. I really do. And, they were talking about it on ESPN this morning when they talked about Chris Streveler coming into the game. They said the former CFL quarterback, leading the Jets on the comeback trail in the fourth quarter. I'm like, yeah, here we go. And here's, what the CFL needs. When you put players into the NFL, you get kudos for it. And, we know he has the athletic ability. We're unsure about the arm, but hey, it didn't look like the arm was a problem last night in Monday Night Football. And you know what? Those things matter because, believe it or not, we look at these preseason games and we think, the results don't matter. And, we take the starters out after a quarter and all this and that. But you know what? Players want to win every game no matter what. So, in that locker room after the game, they were all over Chris Streveler, giving him the kudos and everything else and excited to have the win because those good vibes build towards the regular season. So, I love to see it.
Well, there's some unbelievable emerging stories already in this NFL season. And, of course, as you know, we air all across Manitoba on Bell MTS Cable with Game Plus TV, and they loved Chris Streveler in Winnipeg. And I'll be honest, as the rider guy as I've been historically, I never saw this in Chris Streveler, even while he was with Winnipeg. It looked like he couldn't run. He was built more like a linebacker. He wasn't known for his throwing, but he did help the Blue Bombers to a Grey Cup. Paul LaPolice said all along, his offensive coordinator, this guy's got it. As it turns out, he does. Now, the story of Monday Night Football was Streveler, not your guy Marcus Mariota, who led Atlanta to points on 2 of his 3 drives in the loss against the Jets, but I don't think much is. They blow a lead in preseason play on Monday Night Football. Get used to it, Falcons fans. Point 1B is simply this. Despite an offseason of mixed headlines for Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner continues to dominate in the financial arena. For the 12th straight year, Forbes has calculated the Cowboys as the most valuable franchise in the NFL, pegging the team's worth at a whopping $8 billion. That's a staggering 23% increase over last year, thanks in part to the league's revenue rebound since the 2020 pandemic and the recent $4.65 billion sale of the Denver Broncos. Any thoughts on that other than the Cowboys are again proving, like the Leafs, you don't need to win a championship to improve your value?
No, you don't. You have to have a big audience, a big fan base, a strong brand, and longevity. And the Dallas Cowboys have that. And Jerry Jones continues to show that, they're capturing the country's attention. That America's team slogan is for real. And I love it. So, the Cowboys will continue to dominate.
Well, it was all marketing. I heard somebody saying the other day, where did that name, America's team, come from? And it was late 70s, a marketing shtick, and it worked. There's something to be said for marketing. Start spreading the news, everybody. Let's get that viewership up on YouTube. Tell all your friends. We're talking bald on the RP Show on this Tuesday, brought to you in part by Ito Japan, which I'll tell you more about Ito in a moment. Point 2, as we move on, Rough Riders on Monday named Cody Fajardo their starting quarterback. I did not hear news out of Calgary of the same. Where are the Stamps fans at? Tell me, is Bo Levi starting Thursday at Winnipeg for the Calgary Stampeders? Because both he and Cody Fajardo were benched. I didn't really see the explanation from Craig Dickinson as to why they're going back to Cody Fajardo, but I also don't need it. Dickinson is a loyal guy. I think the general manager, Jeremy O'Day, is too, but I don't know him as well. But you're going to pay a guy the highest paid Rough Rider in franchise history in this all-or-nothing year. You're going to put him on the field, Darren. I don't know how much you and I discussed that yesterday. I discussed it more with Lee, but I think your guy is your guy, and you ride him until you can't ride him anymore. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
It's what you're supposed to do. We have to remember, though, not to let romance cloud our brains, too, because at some point, Bo Levi Mitchell, Cody Fajardo won't be starting quarterbacks in this league. They won't be. And we get romantic about what we've seen in the past. So we have to be ready to move on. But I don't think we're there yet. I really don't with either of these two. And when you're the Saskatchewan Roughriders trying to go all in and win a Grey Cup or be in a Grey Cup at home, you got to go with the guy that's got you this far. And I don't think it's if you turn to Mason Fine now, it shows that you're panicking. And I don't think there's any time to panic in Saskatchewan.
Well, and Fajardo addressed the media yesterday. That 2-minute clip is being picked apart endlessly. I feel sorry for the kid. I wish I knew then what I know now, and I'd like to sit down with Cody and tell him not to listen to him and shove it up their butt. But he's not there yet, and you can tell that he's bothered by what things are being said about him. He said that he was bothered by being pulled, but he said, hey, the coach, that's why he gets the big bucks to make these decisions, and he said his confidence is shaken. So I don't know what to expect out of Cody Fajardo on Friday night, but, and then the others say, well, he's hurt. Well, if he's hurt, he shouldn't be playing. So it is a quarterback mess for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I haven't delved into the comments here from the viewers yet, but I'll say it again. Shoot us a text if you're watching on Game Plus Television. The number's on the screen, 902-518-3033. Who are the Stampeders going to start at quarterback this Thursday at Winnipeg? We know that it's going to be Fajardo at the Lions on Friday night, which incidentally, very honored and pleased to have been asked to be on the BC Lions official podcast. We'll be taping it tonight. I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but that's another reason why I'm wearing orange today. Hey, what's on at the movies this week with Landmark Cinemas? Bullet Train, in theaters now. Brad Pitt stars as Ladybug, an unlucky assassin determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs gone off the rails. Check it out. Tell us how it is. Maybe I'll get to it by the end of the week. I've got a lot of people, Moose, that are in theaters across the prairie seeing our advertisement, so promoting this show. So nice work on that, Moose. It's working. And as a matter of fact, we'd like to send you to the movies. Text MOVIES in all caps right now to the number on the screen to be entered to win tickets and treats at Landmark Cinemas. Winners picked every week to go to the movies. Point 3A, the Montreal Canadiens. You're wondering why, Rod, are you talking with the Montreal Canadiens? Well, NHL.com is filling up my inbox here in the dog days of summer with an outlook of every team every day. And the Montreal Canadiens, I want to hear from the Habs fans. Where are they at today? Darren, are they in a rebuild or are they not? I watched them down here in South Florida this winter, and I remember thinking a couple things. One, they got a great coach in Martin St. Louis. I love the way that he commands his bench. I also thought, this is the best American Hockey League team I've ever seen. Half of the team doesn't even shave. And are they tanking by acquiring Sean Monahan and some of these moves? They've lost Jeff Petrie. They'd already lost Shea Weber. They've acquired Kirby Dach. Like, I don't really know what they're doing. It's not a full-on tank. And do you not think by winning the lottery last year, Darren, and having the number 1 overall pick, which they took Juraj Slafkovsky with, I wouldn't want to tempt fate and think you could do it again. I don't think the Habs want to tank this year. So what do you think is a reasonable outlook for the Montreal Canadiens?
I think the Canadiens can challenge for a playoff spot. I do. I think they're a team now that was in rebuild mode, and I think they're still in rebuild mode. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're a team that's now poked their head out of the sand and can look around and start competing. Right? I think they're a team that's got a good young core now, some real interesting pieces. We'll see in the first third of the season how they come together and if they have a chance at the playoffs. If not, they may decide to continue to retool, deal off some assets, and try and get to the bottom and see if you can find yourself a Connor Bedard in the draft and then really be ready to go. But this almost feels a little bit like the Pittsburgh Penguins when, they got Crosby and Malkin and Letang, and they were bad for a couple of seasons, and it really helped them retool. And they got the Flower and some things in place. Remember, I don't think they're going to have Carey Price this year either. So that's a big question mark in goal if Carey Price isn't going to play. And this might be a team that's either going to surprise people and get into the playoffs, or they're going to be a team that might be at the bottom.
And that's the thing is, with this NHL.com column, they weren't really predicting yet. I don't think we're there yet. We're about a month away from us all making our divisional predictions. But I don't know what Montreal have. The cornerstone, of course, is Carey Price. And did we know when he went away to treatment, as we say in the recovery industry, that he had this significant of a knee problem too? So Carey's not as old as you think. There are a lot of miles on that body. But if they're going into the season without him, where do you begin? You probably don't make the playoffs without Carey Price. So I'd like to hear from the Habs fans today. I'll allow the Habs fans' predictions where you think they'll finish. Darren just said he thinks they can be a playoff team. To me, I think that'll swing on whether Carey Price plays or not. Last year, they were 8th in the division, 2nd worst in the entire NHL, and like I say, incredibly young. And all I can see is them getting like 1 year older. So we'll see where it goes. Point 3B. Baker Mayfield will start the Carolina Panthers September 11th regular season opener against his former team, the Cleveland Browns. Panthers coach Matt Rule made the announcement on the Panthers website Monday. Now listen up, young fans. This is what Rule said. When we started this process, we were looking at 3 things. Number 1, mastery of the offense. Number 2, situational football excellence. And number 3, moving the ball and getting guys involved. That's been our focus all along. Baker has made a lot of improvement, a lot of growth in all 3 areas in a short amount of time. Both Baker and Sam Darnold, as backup now, are expected to play in this team's preseason finale on Friday night against the Buffalo Bills. Moose, who didn't see this coming? Or at least I did. I shouldn't speak for you. I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, both personally and professionally. I think about the letter that Johnny Manziel wrote Baker after going number 1 overall to Cleveland. Remember that a few years ago? I would hope that Baker lit it on fire. What's the letter, Johnny? Where the best bars are in Cleveland? What are you going to tell Baker Mayfield? Maybe you should have wrote him a letter as to how to deal with those idiotic owners in Cleveland. That's what you should have wrote him about. Perseverance? Carolina Panthers might be my 2nd team this year behind the Dallas Cowboys because of what this kid's doing. He's a winner, and I'm pulling for them. Are you surprised Baker Mayfield will start in week 1 for Carolina?
I'm not surprised. I kind of thought he'd have the inside track to win the job. He was a starter in Cleveland, led them to the playoffs for the first time in a long, long time. And when you're a team like Carolina who struggled a little bit, to go back into the season with the same guy. And Sam Darnold's got a lot of talent too, and he can have a good career and get this back on track. But when you're a team being like, okay, we're here and we got the same guy that didn't get us into the playoffs last year, it doesn't give you a great mindset going in. But when you've got Baker Mayfield coming in, now it's new energy, it's excitement. Now you've got everybody really excited about the start of the season. And even if it doesn't work out, they're going to be engaged week 1, and it's Baker against the Browns. Who doesn't want that?
Well, Baker's my kind of guy. You college football fans, tell me, refresh my memory. Was it in Oklahoma or was it at FSU where he took the spear, and which is what FSU's normal pregame thing is, and he took it and speared center field as the opposition? That's something I would do or would have done. So I want to cheer for Baker, and now it's with Carolina. Folks, we're only halfway through our Quick 6 show topics. We haven't got to the poll question here today, so stick around. On the way, Mike Richards and Jim Lang. Moose and I will return right after this brief pause. You're watching the RP Show's warm-up on the Game Plus television network. We're live streaming on YouTube, of course, and 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
Number 16. A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
RP Show brought to you in part by Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Find everything you need to know about our services, financing, product information, and more at broncoplumbing.com, the official plumbing, heating, and cooling company of the RP Show. Hey, Moose, as you know, I trust you, you trust me, you trust my intuition. And my intuition was that even in these dog days of summer that we could talk hockey and get an audience for it here on the RP Show. And lo and behold, the text line is full of messages of people watching on Game Plus television right now. Do you want to hear from some of them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lyle Robichaud is watching in Toronto, Ontario on Game Plus TV, and he says, Habs are in a division of sharks. They're at the bottom of the barrel, with or without Price at the moment. And that's the sucky thing. They go all the way to the Stanley Cup final. We were there for it. It was so much fun. And now, a little over a year later, the GM's fired, the coaches fired, the goalie's gone, the captain's gone. Oh, man. Enjoy the good times while you can, because they don't last in any league, for the most part, unless you're a fan of the New England Patriots, and even those days are over. And from Mydale Mike Lee, who's watching on Sastel Max Television, where they carry Game Plus TV, Mydale Mike says, if Montreal gets Connor Bedard again, I might become a fan of the Habs again. How about that? He's like me. He was giving me the gears. He was giving me the gears in Edmonton, how I changed my favorite teams regularly, and I quoted the great Miles Garrell, Canadian Football Hall of Famer. You know him, Moose, or know of him. I think you know him. I always said, Miles, who's your favorite team? He said, who's ever paying me. I get it. I get it.
Yes.
Just hang on. Let me read a couple more comments, and then we'll get back. There's a lot of comments today. They want to talk. They want to talk. And that's what we do here on the RP Show. But point 4, Canada's unbeaten record at the 2022 Little League World Series came to an end Monday as the powerful Matamoros Little Leaguers of Mexico recorded a 5-inning, 10-0 victory over the Little Mountain Little Leaguers of Vancouver in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Canada now
2-1. In the major leagues of baseball, 0.5. Aaron Judge connected off Max Scherzer for his major league leading 47th home run. Andrew Benintendi drove in 2 runs. And the Yankees beat the Mets 4-2 for their first Subway Series win this season. As for the Toronto Blue Jays, they're feeling pretty good about themselves after winning 3 of 4 off the Yankees on the weekend. They'll open a 3-game series at Fenway tonight. The Jays, 5-5 in the last 10, send Ross Stripling to the mound. By the way, this portion of the warm-up brought to you by Edo Japan. From hand-rolled sushi to bento box meals made with their famous teriyaki sauce, Edo Japan's menu has something for everyone. You want to hear a little inside stuff, Moose? While you were gone at St. Catharines, our COO, Lee Zhenya, and I went to Edo Japan. I was standing there looking at the menu board, and I'm like, I really should change it up for the bento box and expand my horizons. And you can imagine Lee, he looked at me and goes, Roddy, if you really enjoy the bento box, why change? So I didn't.
Smart.
How about that?
Yeah,
I know.
Why mix it up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he got a bento box too, and he mixed the chicken and the beef. He got, he was living wild, and he was very happy with that. And my 6th point I'll come back to. It has to do with the CFL, but from our viewers, I want to read their messages. Todd in Red Deer writes in, he goes, and that's another reason why I love this show. Thanks for trying to answer my question. It was about, did Don Matthews invent the linebacker DB hybrid? He says, maybe we need to bring in a veteran CFL guy or two to get to the bottom of it, Brian Hall or John Lynch. How about that? Brian Hall's never coming on this show. Won't happen. And John Frenzy, unfortunately, for reasons that are his own, won't be coming on this show either. But Todd, I hope that you could be satisfied with the fact that we said John Hufnagel invented the 5-receiver spread offense. Nobody's giving Don Matthews credit, and we already did go to the vets. Nobody's giving Don Matthews that credit. Now, Todd also says, one thing about Jerry Jones is not mentioned enough, in my opinion, is that he was a very wealthy oil businessman, and he invested everything in the Cowboys and went to work. Going all in like that, he deserves tons of respect, in my opinion. Yes, but that's my team. Thing about Jerry, if you go back and watch the documentaries, read the books, he leveraged everything he had. Similar to your guy, Jerry Buss. Darren, with what he did with the Lakers and with what Jerry Jones said, we were walking in some tall grass when they bought the Cowboys back in the day. I love it. And it obviously worked out, but it would be nice if they, if he just moved on. He can still own the team, but having day-to-day control is not really doing it for me. And Stephen in Minot, North Dakota, writes in, he says, the plot thickens. Corny CFL Times picking sweet corn. Will the Bombers make sweet 16 regular season wins? And he reports sunny and plus 19 degrees Celsius in Velva, North Dakota. We'll talk about the Bombers in a second. What I want to get to is this, Darren. And I want your opinion, and it's our poll question today, which we'll get to in a moment. The Week 12 games in the Canadian Football League are these. Thursday, Calgary at Winnipeg, which I think probably would be regarded as Canada's game of the week. Friday, a doubleheader, Hamilton at Toronto, Sask at BC, and then Saturday, Ottawa at Edmonton. Victor Quees, Edmonton Elks are home to the Ottawa Red Blacks Saturday night. Victor puts the victor in victory. I just came up with that last night. What do you think?
It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, the Toronto Argonauts, as I was putting the team's records into this little grid that I do, the Argos are 4-5. They lead the East Division at 4-5. Now, we've had losing teams in the NFL win divisions. That is a fact. NFC East, NFC West, but it didn't look good. And so if you went to a top 6 playoff formula, which I used to be dead set against, but now I'm totally for, and I'm not sure what changed in me, other than maybe leaving the CFL, this, Darren, is what the playoffs would look like today. Winnipeg and BC would have buys, because they're the top 2 teams in the CFL. And the opening round, the semifinal round, would be Montreal at Calgary and Toronto at Saskatchewan. And missing the playoffs altogether right now by virtue of their bottom 3 records would be Hamilton, Edmonton, and Ottawa. Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that it works out that way, and I see this more from a commissioner and an ownership point of view than I do as a fan, but I can put on both hats. Where I'm against the top six format is when you end up with the East not being involved. I think that's a problem, right? I mean, you want to grow the game in those big markets, so you have the East-West format. But what I'm starting to buy into is maybe a bit of a reseeding. You open up this many spots from the West and this many spots from the East, but we're going to reseed you and give you a top six that way. Okay. So at least you've got the playoff spots coming from the division and you're going to be represented East and West. But a 4 and 5 team isn't going to be a number one seed hosting a league semifinal, right? If it's BC and Calgary hosting league semifinals because they're the two best teams in the league, I'm all for that. But let's make sure we have some of the Eastern representatives.
Well, by virtue of what I just said, Montreal and Toronto are in the playoffs. They're just not hosting. And by virtue of their record, they don't deserve to host a playoff game. So, anyways, that's the poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center. Should the CFL change its playoff format and go to a top six format? And the last I saw on Twitter, 71% have responded saying, yes, they should. Clark, do you have a sample size on YouTube? What are they saying on YouTube? 72% saying, yes, it's time to change. And so jumping into the chat here, Carlos in Indianapolis watching, he says the CFL playoff structure could benefit from having that 10th team. Division strength is cyclical. At one point, the CFL East was the CFL least. I've got it backwards. The West has been dominant for decades in the CFL, so I think it is time to switch it. Rich in Edmonton watching says, Rod, as a lifelong Raiders fan, I can relate to bad ownership that overstayed their welcome. In brackets, Al Davis. And by the way, for the NFL fans, I'll plug it again. Coming up next hour, Canada's foremost NFL expert, Jim Lang's covered 5 Super Bowls. Hey, Moose, we're on the list. We covered 1. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we are.
We're catching up to Jim. But for anybody that has NFL questions, Jim Lang coming up in hour 2 in an extended segment to converse with you, the fans. Mad Monkey Studio, that's the account. Mad Monkey Studio on YouTube says, I just took a look into your shop. Will you be getting the official logo T-shirts back in? Who's in charge of merchandise at our expansive corporation, Moose?
We're going to get those logo T-shirts actually back in. It's funny, I had a great call with Lee about this last week, so it's exciting.
So you're getting them in. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
From BW, who's watching in Nipawin. He says, that's a great clip for landmark screens. That would get the discussions going on CFL playoffs. Hashtag squirrel moment. BW just chimes in to try and distract us regularly and does a pretty good job, clearly. So those are the topics. And I'm not totally ready to move off the CFL discussion yet. That's why I think the Golden Corral is so successful. It does have a little bit for everybody. I'm back in South Florida, as you know, Moose. And as one of my coaches said, you have a community in Florida. I said, I do have a community in Florida, and they're awesome. And they love CFL talk, and they love hockey talk. So that's why I said I think we could get away with hockey talk on every show all year round, and also CFL discussion too. Now, having said that, is it worthless for us to sit here and talk about CFL playoff changing? They changed 9 rules this offseason. Do you ever think we'll see a day that they would change to a top 6 format?
Yeah, I could see it. And it'd be crazy if they're not having the discussion, at least if it's not being brought up. And I think, I can really buy into a little bit of a hybrid. You do it in baseball, you protect the division winners, even if there's a bad division, but you don't give everybody a spot. Like perhaps one team in the East gets to host a playoff game, or you have 2 spots in each division available to make the playoffs. But the hosting teams in those, getting the buys should be the top 2 teams in the Canadian Football League, regardless of what division you're in. And I could see that. I could see that happening. And the way you laid out the format for this year, right? It's representative of the East and West. It's just they don't host, and that's fair.
And they shouldn't. When you look at BC, they're 8-1, sitting there going, we got to play in the first weekend with the second best record in the league. That's just wrong. But anyways, we'll kick that around a little later. I'm going to get into a sports update here. Hey, Moose, we'll see you at the top of hour 2, all right? We'll see what's changed by then.
See you then.
All right, a sports update. A 12-year-old golfer was one of 4 to earn the final spots into the 2022 CP Women's Open on Monday. Lucy Lynn of Vancouver, who shot a 2/74 at the Marshes Golf Club in Ottawa, was 2 shots back of Michelle Liu of Vancouver and Gianna Clemente of Estero, Florida. Vanessa Zhang of Vancouver is 1 shot back. The CP Women's Open starts Thursday in Ottawa. The Toronto Blue Jays have an opportunity to pad their wildcard status as their next 12 games are against teams with sub-500 records, beginning tonight as they visit the lowly Boston Red Sox in the first of a 3-game series. And the Little Mountain Little Leaguers of Vancouver, who were crushed 10-0 by the powerful Matamoros of Mexico, need to shake it off and refocus as they face the Caribbean entry from Willemstad, Curacao later today in a must-win game for both 2-1 squads at the 75th Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania today. This sports update is for Edo Japan. From hand-rolled sushi to bento box meals made with their famous teriyaki sauce, Edo Japan's menu has something for everyone. Mike Richards coming up next. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus television network. We're also live streaming on YouTube, and you can always catch the podcast wherever you enjoy your podcasts, including Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
RP Show continues from sunny South Florida. It's a home game week for the Miami Dolphins, home to the Philadelphia Eagles in NFL preseason play on Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium. I'll be there. Hopefully this season it's not Hard Luck Stadium. We're going to Southern Ontario now. Our good friend Mike Richards joins us from Socket 960 Radio. And more than anything, Mike, we didn't have any big topics. I just wanted to know what was popping in your part of the world. What's keeping you busy these days, man?
Well, I'll tell you, it's Nathan Rourke. It's all about Nathan Rourke for me, and it was going into the season and watching him play. So I was not surprised. I was very sort of vocal, very open about what the Argos need to do because they're the one market that just winning isn't enough. Winning isn't enough. You have to have a story. You've got to have a circus going on. And look, the Argos have had a history of doing that for years. Which bring up, whoever you want to talk about, but. It's something that they needed to do, and it was a gift. It was served on a plate with Nathan coming out of Ohio, and then it doesn't matter what else you wanted to take. That was your story. That was your winner. That's your guy. The fact that he didn't catch on and wasn't exactly I think he went to the Giants and maybe they fooled around with him at a receiver or something. But the fact is, if you like Zach Wilson or thought Zach Wilson was good enough to be drafted by the Jets, then you then also have to entertain the Nathan Rourke, who I think might be physically a little bit stronger, might be a little bit smarter. And now that's gone. In one quick moment, he's got that foot injury. If he comes back towards the end of the season, that's fine. But it was heartbreaking. It was gutting for me because he's been wonderful to watch. And in a season where there has been a lot of interesting football games, sometimes for all the wrong reasons. Hey, you never know who's playing quarterback this quarter. Anyone? Has anyone thrown the ball before? You? Okay, you have to keep the helmet on backwards. You got a shot. So it just made me sick to my stomach. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for him. And I feel bad for CFL fans. It just, in a word, it just sucks.
Yeah, and my mind's racing on all of that because he was the best story. Here's something we could put to the viewers, and I'll actually put it to you. Who is the last guy in the CFL that you would buy a ticket to go see? And I say that, Mike, because last week in Saskatchewan, people are telling me I'm buying a ticket to go see Nathan Rourke. The Riders lost their third straight at home. These people wouldn't have normally gone to the game, but they went to go watch Nathan Rourke. And there hasn't been a guy that sells tickets that I can recall for some time in the CFL.
People don't want to hear this, but the last single individual out of curiosity, right or wrong, who people would have bought a ticket for was Johnny Football. Johnny Football, in that time, they're going to look, half the people want to see him fail. The other half want to see if he's any good. The irony is, and this is what he's done his whole life, he's made bad decisions. But when he was with Kahari Jones in Montreal, you could see that he started to get it. Because it's not like he wasn't built for this league, because he kind of was. And when he wants to use his brains for the right thing, which is starting to understand how to read a defense, not taking off before he's checked down on everything he needs to do, I felt he actually could have made a career for himself here in the CFL and kind of got his life on. But you know what? He didn't want to do that. He made sure that the league would not entertain keeping him. And now he's gone forever. And he's just, football isn't in his future. But that's just who he is. He's a mess that way, and he's never been a straight thinker, and he's always had some, quite frankly, bad advice. Some dudes just have a cloud and a stink about them, and it's not going to work out, and he's one of them. But it's a shame. But to me, if you're looking at legitimately who someone's going to put some money down to see, it probably was him.
Yeah, you know what? You couldn't be more right. And to be honest, I was a Manziel fan. Now I'm not, for all the reasons you've laid out. And it's kind of sad. But, last seen playing in the fan-controlled football league, and for
We can laugh at that for all we want, but Cavante Turpin, he's the big stud out of Dallas Cowboys training camp, returned 2 kicks on Saturday. He played in the Fan Control Football League, too. A guy that was dying to get his shot, made it, and now he's starring in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. That's one story as we get ready to kick off a new season. What are the other NFL stories that have your attention, Mike?
Well, we're here in Southern Ontario, which means, the Buffalo Bills are almost as much an obsession as anything else that you'll find. And I am a firm believer that this team is going to play pissed off. I know a lot of people going back to that 13 seconds that all they had to do was make one stop. I mean, they had the game in their hands. They're the ones who blew it. And by the way, I'm not one of these ones that say, don't you think the rules suck? They got ripped off. The league took away a chance for the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl. No, you have to stop people, and you didn't do it. And all you had to do was control 13 seconds of where you think that ball is going to go on that team. And you guessed wrong. You didn't do it. So you're out. But guess what? That's the kind of chip on your shoulder. That's the kind of anger. And you saw little flares of it, and they put a beating on Denver. I mean, again, it's all preseason, so you got to take it with a little grain of salt. But I'm telling you, this team is going to go out and they are going to be ruthless. They're going to go out there. They've got a tough schedule, too. You look at their schedule. The Bills do not have an easy schedule. I don't think they care. I honestly think this is one of these teams that barring injury, they should be Super Bowl favorites. They're certainly my favorite to win. I've been a Josh Allen fan since he basically comes out of high school. No one wants to take him. He and his dad have to work sending out, back in the day, they had to send out tapes. Nobody's interested. So he ends up, you're going to a school like in Wyoming. So, you sometimes there's a lot of eye rolling depending on who you beat. He still had some of that coming in with the Buffalo Bills, and he's proved that he has learned, but he's still his own guy. There was a little bit of that I want to be a Brett Favre kind of thing in him. I think that's been burned out a little bit, but he still will carry that team on his shoulders. He's still going to tuck the ball and run with it. I mean, not like Streveler, that I still think that he's just not an NFL quarterback. I mean, I love the guy, any shirtless fur coat wearing dude with a cowboy hat, tight pants. I gotta be honest, I'm a little attracted to it. So I do like that part of the
y'all? We all are. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Come on. Next time I come on this show, guess what I'm wearing? That.
No shirt and a fur coat.
Oh, yeah.
2 fur coats. Well, so the Bills are going to play with a chip on their shoulder. Let's wind it up with this. How about the Leafs? I'm sure that people are just slowly making the climb to the top of buildings in your area to jump off when the Leafs fall next spring. Are they going to have a chip on their shoulder this season enough to win a Stanley Cup?
No, I wouldn't call it a chip on their shoulder. I think that there is a level of fragility to this team. When you look at what everybody else has done in their division, when you look at what Montreal's done, when you look at what New York did last year, when you see that Tampa Bay is still angry, you've got a bunch of teams. Maybe Ottawa improves a little bit. We're talking about teams like New Jersey. Do they push a little bit? The Islanders were absolutely dreadful last year. So do they go 2 years in a row under Lou and have that kind of tire spinning season? I don't think so, because I think you're going to get to a point, especially with the goaltending, and they're not an aggressive team and they don't have necessarily a great 6 in front of them, that you're going to see a little bit of sweating early. And if it does, I think there's going to be a bit of a meltdown. If I'm looking at a Leaf season right now and Leaf Nation, and this may not be popular on the show, but I think you got to go Crown Royal. Crown Royal, maybe you're Jameson's person, maybe it's Stoli, but you better stock up that bar because it's going to be a bad one. So if you don't have a habit, pick up one. Start smoking cigars, vape, become addicted to porn. Whatever you have to do, don't let it be the Leafs as your center focus, because you're going to be severely disappointed. And I'm expecting disaster. I am. I'm expecting a disaster this year.
Clark, are you listening? Clark, that's our producer. Renew your subscription to OnlyFans. Mike, thanks for this. We covered a lot of ground, man. Keep it real, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, say hi to Jimmy Lang for me. He's one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, the best. Yeah, coming up in hour 2. Thank you. Mike Richards Raw. Give him a follow on Twitter. The guy's an absolute inspiration in many, many ways. Viewer Takeover is next. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network across all 10 provinces and 31 states, including the beautiful state of Florida. We're also live streaming on YouTube and 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The venue at River Cree, bringing you the best in live entertainment. One of the world's most gifted and accomplished ventriloquists, Terry Fader brings his repertoire of comedy, music, and unique impersonations to the venue at River Cree this September for one night only. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Okay, it is viewer takeover from beautiful South Florida. We've already got through the sports update, so it's just you and me, y'all, and the Moose coming up in hour 2. Fire up those text messages now, please, 902-518-3033. I'm sitting here thinking about how wonderful sports talk is in the daytime, and I'm telling you something. I'm sitting here in Florida. ESPN has shows like this on all day, during the day long. And you've heard them and seen them. First Take and Get Up and NFL Live and Around the Horn and Pardon the Interruption. I'm like, when we started this show, I'm like, surely there's space for one daytime sports talk show on Canadian television. And here we are. And it's a very exciting year upcoming, by the way, because I'm sitting here going, I'm loving that we're talking about Nathan Rourke. I'm loving that the BC Lions are relevant again. And we're getting a lot of invitations to bring the show out to Vancouver. And we'll get there If we can find a weekend where the Canucks or Lions are playing on the same weekend, that would be just tickety-boo. And then we hear, and we know that we have a strong pull towards Eastern Canada. And I meant to ask Mike Richards about the Queens play because I know he was there. And if he would tell us how much money he blew or won on the race. I blew my money on the race going with Cause and Mayhem. I thought there was like a Motley Crue thing happening there. No. Moira won. But anyways, we'll be out to Eastern Canada. And so back to this hockey thing. I can tell you right now, these shows on American television won't be fielding text messages like I just did from Lyle in Toronto. And he says at this point, Leafs fans should go into every season primed for disappointment. No goaltender and an Ottawa team that's stacked. I'd predict the Leafs aren't even the best team in Ontario this year. Can somebody check on Clark? I think he just fell over. That would be a good poll question, which incidentally, I will update the poll question here. Who is the best NHL team in Ontario? Look, I don't think Lyle's a Leaf fan, but maybe he is. Randy from Winnipeg writes in and says, what was that about gross hot dog beer guy? Well, and that goes back to Todd Pinkney, one of our P1 viewers, says, I was expecting Mike Richards to talk about the guy drinking his beer through a hot dog last night. Haha. This happened at Yankee Stadium, right, guys? The guy bought a hot dog and a beer. Yeah, guy bought a hot dog and a beer. And from what I could see, I saw it. He took his straw and he poked it right through the hot dog. And then he pulled it out, hollowed out the inside of the hot dog. Then he stuck it in his beer and drank it like a straw. As a straw.
No.
It's on all the highlights. And I don't know what's on TSN. I don't know what's on TSN Sports Center because I haven't watched it. But down here is top 10 stadium food stories. And clearly Duke Williams of the Rough Riders would have probably made that with, come on, let's us together come up with the top 10 stadium food all-time moments. Duke Williams eating nachos in Edmonton 2 Saturdays ago. Excited to say that I was there. Terrell Owens scoring a touchdown, grabbing the popcorn from the fan in the front row, eating the popcorn. John Gott, Ottawa Red Black Center, taking a beer from a fan. Last minute of play in hour 1. Last minute of play. John Gott doing that. Elam, watching on YouTube, says, that's epic. Rod Monroe, that's your dad, Clark. He's watching. He says, too much information on the hot dog, Rod. Gross. What are you talking about? It was on national television. What's gross about it? Nothing gross about it at all. From Ryan in Toronto, he says, I love that segment with Mike. Fragile is an interesting way to describe a team, and now I'm thinking about which teams are fragile in other leagues. Oof. Okay, topic for next hour, okay? Moose will be back with us, and Jim Lang, too. Stick around after this on Game Plus.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop staffed by PGA of Canada professionals is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
To the Calgary Stampeder. Pulled Bo Levi Saturday in Toronto and came back to 1. So what's the buzz in Cowtown as we open a brand new week with their football team?
I think people read into these things too much. You were a goalie. Goalies get pulled at any point.
When a goalie gets pulled in hockey, the whole team gets a lift. When a quarterback gets pulled in football, the whole team dies.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is, and welcome to what's going to be a fantastic second hour of the RP Show, everybody. If you're watching on Game Plus Television, thank you. Come on in, sit down, kick your shoes off, make yourself at home. There is no more interactive show on television or streaming than the RP Show right now, and we've really incorporated a lot of our viewers. And to continue that, we bring in the Moose, Darren Moose Dupont, who joins us from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. And Moose, I will inform you, whether you were paying attention since you left the show, we've got a lot of Toronto viewers today, and I'm interested to get your take on what they said. Are you up to speed on the topics of the day since you left us after the second segment?
Yeah, I think so for the most part. Little in and out in the last couple of minutes, but no, I'm ready to roll. Let's go.
Okay, well, the reason being, a couple things here. I should preface this by saying, coming up later on in hour 2, Jim Lang will be with us, Canada's foremost expert on the National Football League, although I might be giving Jimmy a run for his money, starting our first full season covering the National Football League this year, and I'm so darn excited. My social media timelines are absolutely packed with NFL commentary, coverage, and analysis. I assume yours are too, Darren. Frank Amaranti in Pittsburgh writing on Twitter. He says, Chase Claypool is the definition of a post-hype sleeper. Last year he was being compared to DK Metcalf. Now he's an afterthought, overlooked in favor of George Pickens. Chase Claypool being used as the big slot in Pittsburgh would be worth targeting in your leagues. I'm getting this stuff pumped into my cranium 24/7. Are you?
Oh, yeah. everywhere you look. And, it's something I was thinking about over the last, 20, 30 minutes. Back to the Jerry Jones conversation and being atop the Forbes list. One thing about Jerry Jones and what's made him so interesting is that, he's not scared of the media. He's not scared of the cameras. He welcomes it, and it helps his team rise to the occasion, whether it's documentaries, Hard Knocks, the one on Amazon Prime. He just says, hey, bring the cameras in and we'll give you all the access because we want the Cowboys everywhere. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, come on in. We'll introduce you to our coaches and our players and have as much info as you can and spread the good word about the Cowboys on Sunday football night in America. So, or the football's America's game of the week. So that's what's great about it. And the NFL on the social media streams, you're getting it everywhere, not scared of the media. And I love that.
Yeah, and that's just a bit of an offshoot. I'm just saying from what we were talking about, but I'm like, they're everywhere. The NFL is everywhere, and how they've done it is quite an interesting story. But what I wanted your opinion on, and this came up near the end of hour one, well, it was Mike Richards from Saga 960 Radio, the Canadian radio icon, TSN Radio, Sportsnet Radio is on his resume, and he said that the Leafs are a fragile team. I just asked him for a quick outlook on the Leafs going into the season, and he said they're a fragile team. And then these Toronto viewers have kind of jumped on, and I'm not on that train, and I'm not sure whether they're actual Leaf fans or not. I don't know. Let's hear from you, Toronto, 902-518-3033. And then another viewer, Ryan in Toronto, said, well, that's a good point and a good discussion. What are other fragile teams? And Darren, we could spend easily this whole segment talking about that. I will say this. One of the teams I follow the closest is, of course, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I would say that they're very fragile, especially when your starting quarterback comes out and addresses the media yesterday and says that his confidence is struggling. I love Cody Fajardo to death, and I love his honesty. But if that's what your leader is saying, what does it do to the other 43 guys in the locker room? So, back on point, your take on the Leafs entering this season as training camp opens in a couple of weeks.
It's a fragile group because, look, the expectations are always so high. And the Leafs are one of the most valuable franchises and most popular franchises in sports. We know this, and we don't argue that. But the expectations are there and the results aren't. And so you are fragile because you're scared to make a mistake. So there's no resilience, and with teams that win championships, there's a lot of resilience. They're not scared to make mistakes because they know when they make mistakes, they can recover and they can make up for it. And, the Leafs have never been able to do that. They go up 3-1 in a series to Montreal, make a mistake, and they don't recover. Right? They go up in series and in games, and when they make a mistake, they don't recover. And you look at the Saskatchewan Roughriders, it's a little bit similar. The expectations are so high. They're such the most popular and successful franchise across the league. Well, we know that's changing a little bit. They haven't had the success since 2013, right? It's almost a decade. Like we're moving into it's almost a decade. So you're scared to make one misstep because this is a big opportunity. Grey Cup at home, and almost scared to make a mistake because you haven't shown that resilience. So that's kind of where Leaf fans are at, and I think Rider fans too.
Well, it's interesting you say that. So to our viewers, Darren in Salt Lake City, Utah, watching, he says, I assume by fragile it means a team that should contend for a title but just can't get over the hump. Sorry, Rod, Cowboys the most fragile team in the NFL. You don't need to apologize to me, but if you were watching off the start of the show, it was our point 1B, the Cowboys valued at $8 billion, the most valued franchise in the NFL. That means nothing to me. I'm not sitting there bragging about it. Jarrah can brag about that. I own the most valued team in the NFL. It might have been that before Jerry even bought it in 1988. I'm not sure. That's not something to necessarily brag about. The Leafs are, I think, the third most valued team in the NHL behind the Rangers and Habs. And we can jump around all over the place here if we want. It's interesting. I mentioned last hour, I call them coaches, but they're more advisors. I talked about my Florida community of friends that I've made over the last year. And when I'm introduced to somebody down here, Darren, you got to come sometime. You got to make it. But they always say, this is Rod. He was the voice of the CFL's Dallas Cowboys for 20 years. And people, ooh. That's their take of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But although the Roughriders haven't been in a championship for a decade, as you said, they're not the Dallas Cowboys either. Their financials don't reflect that. But back on point to the fragile team thing. Think about it, what your definition of fragile is. I would say fragility or being fragile is the opposite of confident. And I've been with confident teams and I've been with fragile teams. And confident teams overcome obstacles. A confidence in life. I remember Wally Buono saying once, I quote Wally all the time, he said, football is a game all about confidence. And it is. And I would say most sports are all about confidence. Life is about confidence. If you don't believe you can do something, I'll guarantee that you can. And I think that's the definition here. If the Leafs are fragile, that means they're not confident. What is your definition of fragile when it comes to a sports team or even just a psyche in life?
That's a great definition. It's just a lack of confidence, and that failure or that fear of doubt just keeps creeping in, right? And that voice in the back of your head, that self-talk, right? Here we go again. Your team gives up a goal, and it's like, oh, we're going to lose the game. Your team gives up one big play. Oh, it's not our day. We're going to lose, right? Confident teams. Look at Tom Brady in the Super Bowl against Atlanta, right? They were down, what was it, 28-3 or 27-3 in that game.
28-3 at halftime.
Yeah, and wasn't rattled because when you're confident and you're resilient, you can still come back and win the game. So, yeah, a fragile team lacks the confidence and is full of self-doubt, and those are some toxic things that you got to try and get rid of.
So, the gentleman in Salt Lake City with his own definition of what fragile means. This is ours. Elam, watching on YouTube, says 4 guys making more than $40 million against the cap doesn't work. Spoken as a Leaf fan. Wayne in BC says, I can just hope that the Riders get their confidence back once they get most of their injured players back. Well, by then, it might be too late. And that's why I say with Cody, I love him, and I love his honesty. But in that interview, you would think by Monday that your confidence might be back after being pulled Friday night. So, again, I admire his honesty in saying that his confidence is shook, but it doesn't inspire confidence amongst your teammates. Have you watched all 9 episodes of the Tom Brady documentary, Man in the Arena now? Have you finished it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, did Tom Brady not, at halftime, go up and down his bench in that Super Bowl against Atlanta and say, we're coming back and winning this? They were down 28-3.
Yeah.
That is what inspires you as a player looking at a leader. Because I've worked for a lot of great leaders, and I've worked for some really crappy leaders too. So I've seen both sides of the coin. And the best is obviously Jim Hopson, the Hall of Fame president of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who was like, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it. Who's with me? And we're all like, ah. I remember, you've heard me say the story, I basically had a desk at Taylor Field back in the day when Hopson was the president. And yeah. Jim would stand there, and I'll never forget, he would lean in the doorway, and he would just tap the frame of the doorway, and he'd go, Roddy, we want the best people in all positions working for our franchise, and we believe you're the best in your position. That's why we have you. Then you turn and walk away. Same thing. I want to go through a wall for this guy. So that's the definition of a great leader, and I won't speak about the crappy ones that I've worked for. I think we all know who they are. Jack in Calgary writes in and says, from Vulcan, Alberta, he says, there are a few starting quarterbacks in the CFL struggling at this moment. They need a strong, uplifting support group to keep their spirits up. If they don't have that support, it's hard to be confident. And as you said, leaders need to inspire confidence. I think that's why you see some winning organizations and why you see some losing organizations. I've said 1 million times, it starts at the top. Sooner or later, people are going to start listening to me. That's the thing with Cody. I sit there and go, man, I hope he's working with a mental coach. He could use a mental coach. Anybody that's struggling right now in life could benefit from advisors like I have. We're thriving, Moose, as you know. We are asking viewers about their best food-involved sporting moments based on what that happened at Yankee Stadium last night. Did you hear that one about the hot dog?
The hot dog and the beer? Yeah.
It's all over the TV networks today, which I said, by the way, Moose. Clearly, you said you were watching an American TV today. I don't know how, and I won't ask how. Okay, that's our little secret. But all day long, you can't swing a cat in a bag without hitting a sports channel here in America, and they got daytime sports programming. And until we came along on Game Plus TV, there wasn't one. There wasn't one in Canada. You going to tell me there's not room for one daytime sports talk show in Canada? And we're filling it very well. So, Ryan Marushak, you know Shaq, he's watching in Saskatoon on Game Plus television, and he writes in and he says, when Prince Fielder missed a foul ball and took a nacho from a fan as he went back to first base was another good one. Keep up the great show, Rod. Just off the top of my head, I thought of a few episodes of fan-involved sports, food-involved sports moments. Did you think of any?
I'm trying. I mean, I always love the cup stuff, when the beer snakes and stuff, but I always like in baseball, it's not food, but when they stack the cups or they stack the food items on top of somebody's head in the dugout when he's having a little snooze in the fifth inning, those are always pretty funny. Big fan of that. Or the baseball, the classic when he catches the ball in his cup of beer, that one's pretty good. There's a few.
I just like to go to games and keep my hands to myself and enjoy what's going on in the field. But I know do you believe in the adage, you pay your money, you can do whatever you want? Because that's what a lot of people think.
No, I don't. I don't at all. I mean, you still have to adhere to some sort of code of conduct. It's not like you bought the ballpark and the team and the police department. You don't own them all. You just bought a $12 ticket to sit in a seat.
I agree. Todd Pinckney says, what about the drunk guy at the baseball game that was pouring bags and bags of popcorn all over his face? Remember that one? Jason in Red Deer says, the foul baseball hitting a lady's popcorn and making it explode everywhere. It's always baseball. Why is that? It seems to always be baseball, except for T.O. Benjamin.
Because baseball is 4.5 hours, and you got to have like 3 meals throughout the game.
Good point. Benjamin in the YouTube says, what would you think of the Riders picking up Bo Levi Mitchell from the Stampeders and maybe got rid of Cody? Benjamin, I would say go back and read my Sunday column at rodpeterson.com, 10 weekend things. I addressed it there. Riders aren't trading for Bo Levi Mitchell because if you were the Calgary Stampeders, why would you help out a division foe when you got a chance to see them circle the drain? I'll get to more of the viewer questions later on. Moose, thanks for this, man. Appreciate you.
You bet. Same here.
Get your NFL questions in because Canada's foremost NFL expert, Jim Clubber Lang, joins us next. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus television network, available all across Ontario on Cogeco and Rogers Cable. We're also available on YouTube Live and 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
The Venue at River Cree, bringing in the best in live entertainment. One of the world's most gifted and accomplished ventriloquists, Terry Fader brings his repertoire of comedy, music, and unique impersonations to the Venue at River Cree this September for one night only. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Always a special treat when we get to talk NFL preseason and NFL overall as we welcome our good friend Jim Lang from Southern Ontario, Canada's foremost expert on the National Football League. And Jimbo, I appreciate you accommodating us. I wanted a little more time than normal to talk. Okay. You're looking good. You're down some weight. What do you got going out there in York, Ontario?
I got a puppy that keeps me busy. Trying to stay healthy. It's been a tough last couple of years and just trying to live my life. But if I may, a quick food sports story. John Garrett, who we all know is one of the great storytellers of all time, one of the great guys in the NHL, he actually played an NHL game with a hot dog in his pad. They were in the Colisée, and he had a hot dog wrapped in like the tinfoil you would get from the vendor. He put it inside his pad, sitting down, was going to eat it. Dan Bouchard leaves the game. He's got to go in the game. He tries to reach down to grab the hot dog. He can't. He played the game with the hot dog inside his pads. If you Google John Garrett hot dog story, it's one of the best food sports stories ever.
Oh, sounds like a book. Sounds like your next book, Jim. Hey, I've invited our viewers to write in with their NFL questions for you, and there are a ton, and I'll get to those. But you responded to our tweet promoting your appearance by mentioning the Saints, to expect big things out of New Orleans Saints. And I just wonder what's got you thinking that as we are on the eve of a new NFL season.
No, I meant the Bengals.
Are they so? Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I just want to clarify. Who dad is the Saints? Who day is the Bengals? So that's the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, I think they carry over what Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, and getting the offensive line addressed in the offseason right away and having the camp, and they just signed that great safety Bates. The Bengals have got so much going for them in a division that's in so much flux with the Steelers. They haven't even decided their quarterback yet. Mike Tomlin says between the rookie Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, you've got no Deshaun Watson in Cleveland to December the 4th, week 13, and the Ravens will give them a run for their money. But I really think the Bengals are going to carry on from their momentum at the end of last season of the postseason. And I expect big things from the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC.
I'm going to turn it over to some of the viewers already. Rich in Edmonton says, Jim, can I finally believe all the hype that the Raiders will not only compete in the AFC, but are a legit contender?
Yeah, I believe the hype. Okay, they're good, but think about the division now. Nathaniel Hackett in Denver and bringing in Russell Wilson. And I think Russell Wilson's on a serious mission with the Broncos. And he's got Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. He's got some weapons. So Russell Wilson is like obsessed with trying to prove to everyone that what happened at the end in Seattle isn't the Russell Wilson that we know and doing something special. The Chargers and Justin Herbert are going to be good again. Then you have the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, like as good as I think the Raiders are with Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr. And I do think they're good. They are in a crushingly tough division, maybe the toughest division in the AFC, maybe in the NFL right now. So now you have to think if you're the Raiders, you don't have a margin for error, and then you're playing for a wild card because the division, I mean, I think 12 games, 12-5 minimum to win that division, maybe 13, and that's asking a lot. So I like the Raiders, a playoff caliber team without question, but my goodness, I mean, that division is so tough and so stacked and so loaded at quarterback with all four teams with amazing quarterbacks to work with. That's what makes it tough for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's amazing when you talk about the AFC and the West and the North. But look at the AFC East. You reside in Southern Ontario. All I'm hearing out of there, and by the way, Mike Richards says hi. He was on with us last hour and says he loves you, is Bills, Bills, Bills. Does it not run through Buffalo to win the AFC?
I think it should, but it's the Buffalo Bills. And I don't think there's any sure things, Rod, with the Buffalo Bills because they find interesting ways to lose games like we saw last year in the postseason. But without question, the Buffalo Bills, like this is their year. This is their opportunity to finally once and for all to get back to Super Bowl glory. They've got everything going their way. I think there's a lot of improved teams in the AFC East. The Patriots with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones are going to be better. I think the Jets are improving. I really want to see what Mike McDaniel, the former assistant coach from San Francisco, does in Miami. But this is all put together for Josh Allen and his coach Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills and everything. I mean, barring catastrophic injuries at key positions, there's no reason why the Bills aren't in the AFC Championship game at the end of the postseason with the Final Four going to the Super Bowl. They're that good. And this is all on them now. If they don't make it, they have no one to blame but themselves. Because, I mean, they've been working towards this for years. They talked about trust the process, not the same old Bills, rebuilding the team from the foundation up. They've done that, and now it's time to put it all together and beat the teams like the Bengals and like the Chiefs and prove to everyone they can get it done, hang with the big boys, and go to the Super Bowl again.
I pray or ask our viewers to be patient. There are so many questions. They've come alive, Jim, which they always do when we talk NFL. So I'll try to get to them all. Ryan, well, as much as we have time for, Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, question for Mr. Lang. Is there any realistic improvement for the New York Jets? And if so, how many more games do they win in 2022?
It's Zach Wilson staying healthy. I like Robert Saleh. I mean, I think we saw some glimpses last night in the preseason. They were down early, came back. It's preseason, but the coaching staff is trying to build a culture of winning and culture of it's because we're down. We still have time. We can win a game. There is improvement there. Are they a 6-7 win team? Possibly. They're not there yet, but keep building on what they have. Keep working towards it. Have some patience with the GM and ownership. Better drafts, better free agency signings, and they're a couple of years out, but they're definitely on the right path. I think they've got the right coaching staff, the right quarterback, and building towards something special. But again, you're in the same division as the Patriots and the Dolphins and the Bills, and so that's 6 brutally tough games for the Jets. I mean, so if you're the Jets and you go 2-4 against the other three teams in the division this year, that's pretty good because of how good those teams are. But I like the direction the Jets are on, but they're definitely not there yet.
Trying to go in order here. Jennifer says, even with the addition of Devontae, I don't think Derek Carr is consistent enough to get it done. Can I segue off that and say Devontae's not in Green Bay anymore? What about the people that say Aaron Rodgers was only made to look good by the people around him, including Devontae Adams? Does Aaron have anything left to prove despite one of his top receivers being gone?
Oh, I think he does, Rod. And he's actually been, if you read between the lines, so he took a few shots at management in the preseason and training camp. He was really complaining about the quality of play from the young quarterbacks in training camp, not running precise routes, dropping too many passes, not reading the play right. So what happens is they lose Devontae Adams in the offseason, maybe top 2 or 3 receivers in the entire league. They don't draft a receiver in the first 2 rounds of the draft. And Aaron Rodgers is sitting there like, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. And he's always been a little grouchy about the lack of support he's received. And then he loses Devontae Adams. So there's going to be a lot of work. And you had mentioned leadership before I came on. And this is where Aaron Rodgers as a leader is going to have to be an extension of the coaching staff in Green Bay and coach up these receivers and bring them up to the level that he needs to succeed. Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback. It's a winnable division in the NFC North for the Packers. There's no reason why they don't win the division, and they're not back in the playoffs. But they don't. I mean, with Devontae Adams, you had a receiver that at any time he dropped back to pass and throw his direction, it's a touchdown. They don't have a receiver like that now in Green Bay. But will they have one by the end of the season? Will Aaron Rodgers groom one of these young receivers and work with them and train them and teach them and lead them to the point that maybe they find some gold there? That's too early to tell. But, I mean, it's a big loss, Devontae Adams. I mean, if you're Derek Carr, Devontae Adams will cover up a lot of mistakes for an NFL quarterback. You can throw on the wrong shoulder, and the highlight's going to go, wow, what a great catch. And in the film room, they're like, why did you throw it on that shoulder? It was supposed to go there. But Devontae Adams is such a good receiver and such a good athlete, he covers up a lot of mistakes. Now, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that luxury anymore. Not that he makes a lot of mistakes.
Great question. Yeah, of course. Great question from BW on YouTube. Says, my dream Super Bowl is Panthers versus Broncos. Any chance this year or next? Interesting point. I read an article today. Broncos pin hopes on Russell Wilson to lead them back to Super Bowl. And Carolina is going with Baker Mayfield. So 2 teams with decided changes at quarterback. Could it be enough to get into the dance, Jim?
I'll start with Carolina. I totally agree with the Baker Mayfield decision for week 1 against his old team, the Browns. But the problem is Christian McCaffrey. I think he's played a total of 10 or 11 games in the last 2 seasons. 10 or 11 out of 33 games. He can't stay healthy. I mean, until Matt Rule and the coaching staff find some sort of magic formula to keep McCaffrey healthy, there's no way that Carolina can survive the big boys of the NFC. He just can't, and no matter what Baker Mayfield does. Now, for Denver, I'm really, really excited and looking forward to seeing what Russell Wilson does in Denver with the Broncos. Again, it's a tough division. I don't know if they win the division because of the teams, but they have everything set up to be a wild card team in the AFC. And Russell Wilson is, I mean, I remember when he was a rookie in Seattle and they had a really narrow playbook and they wouldn't let him do much and, he's too short. No one talks about his height. No one talks about a constricted playbook anymore. He's a great quarterback and a great athlete and a great leader. So I'm not saying that the Broncos could do it, but if they did go all the way, I don't think people should be too surprised because of Russell Wilson. Give the man some credit because he's a quarterback of amazing pedigree, and he really, really is on a mission this year.
Jeff in Winnipeg says, if Cliff Kingsbury can't get it done this year on Arizona, is he done?
Ooh, that's a great question because they just signed their franchise quarterback to franchise money. Now, if you're the ownership and you're management and you've signed Kyler Murray to like big, big money for long term, who's got the better staying power and the better job security? Kingsbury or Kyler Murray? It's Kyler Murray. He's not going anywhere in the Valley of the Sun for the next 6 or 7 years. So absolutely, Cliff Kingsbury has got an immense amount of pressure on him against a lot of great teams, including in his own division, the Super Bowl champion Rams. He's got a way to solve the Rams in the postseason, and then worry about, how good are the Cowboys going to be this year? How about the Buccaneers? How about the Packers? I mean, Arizona has a lot of things standing in their way of being a Super Bowl team. They get to the NFC Championship game, they get to the Super Bowl no matter what happens. Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is okay, but they flame out, they go one and done. I could totally see him losing a job. Shh, Monty. It's my dog.
They'll be going to the dogs. Well, segue off that was giving Kyler Murray the second most money, I believe, in the NFL for sure at the quarterback position a good decision.
It's right now I think it's a good decision, Rod. But he's got to prove himself. He's got to have a Joe Burrow kind of year. He's got to have 4,000 plus yards. Go see your sweetie. Sorry. 4,000 plus yards. He's got to lead the team deep in the playoffs to justify the money. It doesn't matter how much money you pay a certain quarterback, but if they become a Pro Bowl All-Star, go deep in the playoffs, and make you a contending team, then it's all justified. But so now it's up to Kingsbury and it's up to Kyler Murray to prove that they should be the head coach and deserving all that money. So again, this is Kyler Murray. He had some complaints in the offseason, beginning of this offseason, if you remember, about his contract, about his status in Arizona. So, okay, he's got the money now. So now it's time for him not just to prove to people in Arizona, but to prove around the NFL he is deserving of that money. Whether that happens, I don't know, because that division is so tough in the NFC, is so tough that there's nothing easy for the Cardinals. And they have to find a way to keep their key players healthy as well.
Viewer Todd wants to know who your top 3 fantasy quarterbacks are in the NFL. Do you dabble in the fantasy game, Jim?
I do. I would go, I definitely go Patrick Mahomes. I would go Lamar Jackson because he runs so much. And I'm going to probably, I'm not going to go Tom Brady, but I go Aaron Rodgers. Now, talking to fantasy, if I have the number 1 pick, I'm going for Jonathan Taylor, the running back for the Colts, because I think the Colts and Jonathan Taylor, they are going to give him the ball so much. He is going to have so many offensive touches. And this reminds me of Denver in the late 90s, where they had added Matt Ryan to the Colts offense, not to win the game, but to manage the game and not screw up the game and make sure Jonathan Taylor has the offensive touches that he needs. Jonathan Taylor is going to have a monster fantasy season for anyone who gets him in a fantasy football draft.
One more. We've got about a minute. Randy in Winnipeg says, my dream Super Bowl is the Chargers and anyone else. LOL. Hope for the LA Chargers this year? How much hope? Again, they're in that tough division. What do you think?
Justin Herbert is a legit MVP candidate. He's really, really, really good. But it's that division. I mean, if they find a way to somehow get by the big guys in the division and go deep in the postseason, fine. But a lot of things have to go right. But Justin Herbert is going to be heard from a lot. And the funny thing about this offseason and this training camp is we've heard a lot about Patrick Mahomes and what he's been doing, and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. It's been kind of quiet. I think people maybe forgot how good he is, and the Chargers, how good they can be. The Chargers are a playoff team in the AFC without question. But if you look back at teams that made and missed the playoffs with that extra game now, Rod, the 17 regular season games, the margin for error is a game. So there's no, we can make up the game later. It's so tight, and there's so many good teams. And I mean, the Colts missed by 1 game. They lost to the Jaguars in the last game of the season. They beat that game, and Carson Wentz plays a decent game, and they're in the postseason. That's how narrow it is. So if San Diego doesn't stumble, doesn't go into some sort of slump in the middle of the season and play consistent football, they're a playoff team. Whether or not they did go all the way, I don't know if a listener from Winnipeg's dream is going to come true, but I think Justin Herbert's going to have a big year as well.
You just said San Diego. That's $5 in the fine fund.
Sorry,
Jimmy.
LA. Sorry, my bad.
It's all good. Appreciate it, man. Let's do it again soon. Enjoy the ball.
Absolutely. Sorry, I just lost my microphone. Thanks, Rod. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You're good. Jim Clubber Lang. Hey, give him a follow on Twitter at Jim Lang Sports. He's the best NFL analyst. Look at him answering all those questions
in rapid fire. We got a sports update coming up, plus viewer takeover. You're watching the RP Show live on Game Plus television. We're also live streaming on YouTube. You can always catch the podcast wherever the best podcasts are found, including Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG. Always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games.
Play among legends at betregal.net.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
It's all good. I can handle it. It's the RP Show coming at you on this Tuesday. Daytime Sports Talk from South Florida. Want to remind you, as it being Tuesday, that means it's Taco Tuesday in the kitchen at River Cree Resort and Casino. Edmonton's entertainment leader. Try our $9.99 trio taco special from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. every Tuesday. Family-friendly dining. Hashtag Edmonton. Hashtag YEG. Hashtag River Cree. And when they say taco trio, just so you know, because I've been there, 1 chicken, 1 beef, 1 fish. Their fish tacos are the best I've ever had, and I'm not joking. Viewers. Jeff, the Stamps fan, I'm just reading this without proofreading it. He says, between the $500 free money and the return of Zellers, one would imagine the sales of sweatpants will skyrocket in Saskatchewan this holiday season. Ooh. I don't know what to say about that. Zellers coming back, Clark? Did I miss that in the news? Zellers? Okay. I don't know what to say about that. So I'll go into a sports update. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series with the Boston Red Sox at Fenway tonight. Righty Ross Stripling will be on the mound for Toronto, while Boston counters with Josh Winkowski. The Blue Jays are holding down the second American League wildcard spot, while the Red Sox are 6 games back and in last place in the American League East. Canada looks to bounce back today at the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, after suffering a 10-0 loss to Mexico on Monday. Canada, represented by Vancouver's Little Mountain All-Stars, faces the Caribbean entry from Willemstad today in a must-win game for both 2-1 squads. Tom Brady returned to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday, ending what has been described as an 11-day prearranged break from training camp for personal reasons. The 7-time Super Bowl champion didn't address the media after practicing. Teammates and coach Todd Bowles said the 45-year-old quarterback was sharp throwing the ball and essentially took up where he left off when he left the team on August. Whoa. Please don't address your set. I just kicked the camera. When he left the team on August 11th. We still good, Clark? We're still good, right? Receiver Brian Burnham was bummed out when he learned Nathan Rourke's foot injury required immediate surgery, but the BC Lions veteran receiver insisted Monday that the star quarterback's absence won't sink the 8-1 football team. Canadian Michael O'Connor becomes the Lions starting quarterback now. The 26-year-old Ottawa product will make his first CFL start this Friday night when the BC Lions host the Saskatchewan Roughriders. This sports update for Dark Horse betting app. Bring the thrill of the track to your fingertips with Woodbine's Dark Horse app. Its AI-powered insights and strategies help you make smarter bets straight out of the gate. Feel the excitement of live stream horse races wherever you go. Download the app for free at playdarkhorse.com, available for Android and Apple devices. We're also brought to you by Ballers Rec Room, your official home of Slow Pitch, open Wednesday to Sunday for the Tab Brewhouse and Drive-Thru Liquor Store, and for Red Bull Canada. Red Bull gives you wings. Let's get the viewer comments in here in the time we have left. I'm not certain if Moose will be back for overtime or not, and if he's not, we can all handle it. I just want to say this about Tom Brady. I'm caught in a pinch here. Just personally as a fan of Tom Brady versus being a reporter. It's like when you are in public life, you're not entitled to in any way a private life. And I don't like that. So Tom left the Bucs for 11 days for personal reasons. We found out on the first day of his absence that it was pre-planned between he and Buccaneers management and the coaching staff. Then you got Antonio Brown calling out Tom, but who cares what Antonio thinks? But do you not think that if a guy wants an 11-day absence and says it's personal, it should be left to be personal? Don't you think? That's just me. But that's as a Tom Brady fan. Like, I'm not, I remember there was a sports person who was found dead in his apartment years ago, and I texted his brother, and I said, actually it was his brother-in-law, and I said, if you don't mind me asking, what did he die of? He said, why does it matter? I'm like, good point. None of my business. If Tom Brady can go away for 11 days, is it anybody's business? Really? If he doesn't want it to be? Dan is watching in Eden Prairie, Minnesota from Vikings training camp. Do you want to send us a picture, Dan? He writes in and he says, I can't drive past Cracker Barrel anymore without thinking about the RP show as the Cracker Barrel of sports talk. It's not the Cracker Barrel of sports talk. It's the Golden Corral of sports talk. Go to a Golden Corral. There's nothing wrong with Cracker Barrel, but that's not what we are. regarding the fan hollowing out a hot dog at Yankee Stadium last night and using it as a straw for his beer. We are asking what's your favorite fan/food moments in sports? Phil, watching in the chat, says favorite food moment was the guy getting hit with a slice of pizza at Fenway years ago. How many years ago was it? I remember that. I remember the piece of pizza going flying in the air. Probably was over 10 years ago. It seems like yesterday. Two completely diametrically opposed viewpoints here. Rich in Edmonton says, if I take personal time away from work, it is between myself and management. Why should it be different in sports? See, that's what I think. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, unfortunately, for those as famous as Tom Brady, there is no privacy. Says who? Tom clearly thinks that he is deserving of his privacy, and I agree. But it just seems like everybody's gnawing and picking away at Tom and why he was away and didn't want anybody to know. Personally, I think that's his right. We'll continue this and more. Okay, we got some juicy topics here. When we come back in overtime for one final segment, sometimes it's always the best. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television. We're live streaming on YouTube, 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
RP show continues, and it is time for overtime. Little shot of Robbie's down there in the Florida Keys. My favorite place in the world, the Florida Keys, as we bring in the Moose, Darren Moose DuPont, with, again, a lot of topics on the table here today, Moose, and there's a little bit of a war erupted in the chat while you were gone. Your guy Dan, Ukraine, he's in Minnesota for some reason. Maybe you know why he's at Vikings training camp. I don't know why. And he said he drove by the Cracker Barrel and it reminded him of our show, the Cracker Barrel of Sports Talk. Dan's usually on point, man, but he whiffed on this one. He blew this one.
Did he ever? It's the Golden Corral of Sports Talk. I mean, Cracker Barrel might be great. I don't know if I've ever been to a Cracker Barrel before, but I've been following Dan's social a little bit, and the trip looks great. He's down there in Wisconsin and then into Minnesota. I think he was around. So the pictures look awesome. But yeah, that was a big swing and a miss.
Yeah, sorry, Danny. But hit up a Golden Corral. Cracker Barrel is, it's cheap, and it's for old people. That's not what the RP show is. Golden Corral is for everybody, and it's inexpensive, but also quality. That's the difference between something you want to talk nice about and not so nice about. Inexpensive versus cheap. Anyways, moving on. Wilf, he watches every day, and I love him. I love me some Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba. He says, "Hi, Rod. Great show. As a Rider fan, they have 2 receivers back. Is Dan Clark ready? Looking for a win." I don't know, brah, and I apologize. I could see why people would think that I'm still the guy for Rider information, because I did break the story yesterday that Cody Fajardo is going to start at quarterback, but I'm not there. And I just got the text message from within Mosaic Stadium that Cody's going to start. And I appreciate the person who sent me that, but I didn't get an update on Dan Clark because I'm not there every day. So I don't know the answer to that. But more importantly, from Jennifer at the Four Seasons, which sponsors Overtime, your home for the UFC and the National Football League, Jennifer says the Brady info will get leaked eventually. And that's where I want your take on this. How much privacy is Tom Edward Brady entitled to, Darren, in your opinion, on this?
However much he can get, but I mean, he's a professional athlete, and so you're instantly not going to have a certain amount of privacy. And I think that comes with the territory. You know, when people go to work in the mine or they go work on big power lines, there's a little danger pay included in their contract, right? It's a little bump for the danger they have in their jobs. And athletes, movie stars, celebrities get paid a little more because there are things that go along with the job that aren't so nice, like having your privacy invaded and not having a lot of that personal space. So you get compensated financially for that. And if you want to have a private life, you won't play in the National Football League. You can't have it both ways. You really can't. But, you know, there was some rumors around the tampering around the Miami Dolphins and Tom Brady and the ownership and all of that back when he was at the Patriots, and that this might be part of that the league said, look, we're not going to publicly suspend you for this, but if you take 10 days off camp and do this, this is what we're going to do. Right. And you can spin it any way that you want to. That's just a rumor. Again, we may or may not find out, but Tom can come to the podium every day and say, personal reasons, took it off, and I'm back. And he can continue to say that. And if we never find out why he left and why he wasn't in camp, then good on Tom for keeping it under wraps, and good on everybody for keeping it quiet. We're not entitled to that information at all, but it may come out, and that's just part of the job.
Well, I'm that guy that will defend Tom Brady to the end. I'm that guy that will defend Cody Fajardo to the end, and you're similar to that. Why I think that's bunk is if they were to suspend Tom Brady for anything, you don't suspend somebody in training camp. Look at Deshaun Watson. He's practicing and playing with the Cleveland Browns in the preseason. His suspension doesn't kick in until the regular season. To tell Tom Brady at 45 years of age, you need to miss 11 days of training camp, that's a punishment? I don't think so. That's a reward for TB12. So, anyways, the chat dropped for a minute, but now it's back. I'm just going to leave that away because I'm just going to finish the show with Darren here right now, and you'll have to apologize. Pardon me, I dropped my pen. I have it back now. And my mind is racing on a lot of things there. Katie Lang famously said, the Canadian country star, if you have to pick between rich and famous, it's a lot better to be rich than famous. Because I guess I've had a public life, but I've never been paid more for having a public life. I swear, when I was voice of the Rough Riders and the things that came along with that job, I'm like, I don't get paid enough for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I will say this. I've mentioned, this is now the third time on my show, my advisors, whom you know who they are, some of which are in South Florida, they're like, you've had to go through some incredibly difficult things in life publicly. And your reward for that is it's made you incredibly strong. And now the rewards are coming with regards to what you had to go through on a public stage. So that's cool. I'm like, okay, I'd rather have that than be paid for it at the time. Back to the back to the CFL thing. Very honored to have been asked to go on the BC Lions podcast later on today. I'm very much looking forward to that. This playoff thing, we're going to go off air with it romping to victory. That there should be a playoff format change in the Canadian Football League. Darren, what do we got to do to make that happen?
We got to continue to have the conversations, continue to talk about it, continue to build momentum. And if you can find a way to make sure that there's still going to be a couple of teams from the East in the playoffs, even if they're not hosting, I think you've got a real win-win scenario.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You're looking at the CFL tall foreheads and decision makers going, we don't want to change. You know, we talked about the 9 rule changes earlier on in the show, so maybe they are willing to. We'll kick this around for the rest of the week. Thanks, Moose. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Rest of you, noon Eastern here on Game Plus.
Who has more fun than us?
Bingo! Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. That's hot. Hot damn. Hot take. Hot. Hoorah. Hell yes.